Ladies and gentlemen, there is something sacred about the morning. It is not merely the start of a new day. It is a divine invitation to begin again with clarity, with energy, and with purpose. The morning walk, simple as it may seem, is one of the most powerful practices you can engage in to align your body, your mind, and your spirit with the assignment of the day. A morning walk is far more than a physical activity. It is a sacred appointment with yourself, your thoughts, and your Creator. While the world still sleeps and silence rests upon the earth, those early footsteps are not just about burning calories. They are about aligning your spirit, your mind, and your body for the purpose ahead. In that stillness, in that peaceful solitude, something powerful begins to happen. You are no longer merely existing. You are preparing, centering, and intentionally stepping into the day with clarity and calm. Too often, people wake up reacting. They reach for their phones, scroll through problems, and instantly absorb the chaos of the world. This reactive rhythm creates stress and robs the soul of peace. But when you begin your day with a morning walk, you shift from reaction to reflection. You are not responding to the noise. You are listening to the silence. And in that silence, your thoughts become clear, your heart becomes calm, and your soul becomes still enough to receive what matters most. A morning walk is a divine reset. Every step forward is a declaration. Today is new. I am here. I am grateful. I am alive. This is not a hurried gym workout or an obligation to tick off your to-do list. This is sacred space. It is where your mind sorts out confusion, where your spirit reclaims peace, and where your body finds rhythm. The act of walking early in the morning teaches you to slow down so that you can speed up in the right direction. There is something deeply spiritual about watching the sunrise during a walk. As the light slowly pierces the darkness, you are reminded that every day is a fresh beginning. Yesterday's failures don't define you. Last night's fears don't control you. The dawn announces that grace has arrived again, and your participation in this quiet ritual affirms your readiness to make the most of it. The physical benefit is obvious: improved health, increased energy, sharper focus. But more than that, a morning walk trains you to lead your day instead of letting the day lead you. It is discipline in motion. It is a form of worship, a space for gratitude, a path to mental clarity. It's where you hear the whispers of purpose that get drowned out by the noise of the day. And so the person who walks each morning is not simply exercising, they are aligning. They are connecting the physical with the spiritual, the outer movement with inner peace. That is why morning walks hold such value. They remind you that life is not to be rushed through, but to be walked with intention. When you choose to start your day with a morning walk, you are choosing peace over panic, order over chaos, and purpose over pressure. It is one of the most effective ways to begin not just a healthy day, but a meaningful life. When you begin your day with a morning walk, you are doing more than stretching your legs. You are declaring order over your life. That early act of getting up, dressing with intention, and stepping outside into the stillness of dawn creates a profound inner shift. It establishes a rhythm of discipline, purpose, and focus that ripples into everything else you will do throughout the day. The human mind craves structure, and the body thrives on consistency. A morning walk provides both. It becomes an anchor, a foundation upon which the rest of the day can be built with confidence and clarity. Purpose-driven living does not happen by accident. It requires preparation, and preparation begins with discipline. When you make the decision to rise before the noise and chaos of life begins, you are prioritizing intentionality over impulsivity. You are saying, I will lead my day, not let it lead me. And one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to do that is to walk early in the morning. This practice creates space for thoughts to settle, for emotions to balance, and for your goals to come into view with fresh clarity. What often separates people who drift through life from those who walk in purpose is how they start their day. Many rush into the world with no reflection, no alignment, and no clarity. But those who carve out time in the early hours develop the habit of conscious living. A morning walk clears mental fog. It silences the clutter of distraction. It helps you sort through what truly matters. It is during those quiet steps that solutions to problems often arise, not because they were forced, but because your mind finally has room to breathe and think clearly. This practice doesn't just affect the morning, it sets the entire tone for your day. You will find yourself calmer in conversations, more decisive in decisions, and more focused on what truly adds value to your life. The discipline required to consistently take morning walks translates into the discipline needed for bigger goals, whether it be building a career, nurturing relationships, or overcoming personal obstacles. Success in life is rarely about grand gestures, it's about small, consistent habits that build over time. A morning walk is one of those habits. Furthermore, it instills within you a powerful sense of control and responsibility. You begin to realize that you are not a slave to time or circumstances. You are a steward of them. You are in control of how you start your day, and that power brings with it the confidence to face whatever challenges lie ahead. With each morning walk, you are not just putting one foot in front of the other. You are taking charge of your time, your health, your mind, and your direction. In the end, purpose-driven living is not about perfection. It's about being intentional with your steps, both literally and metaphorically. And there is no better place to practice that intentionality than in the quiet, disciplined walk of the morning. When you step outside for a morning walk, you are entering a living classroom crafted by the Creator himself. The trees swaying gently in the breeze, the birds announcing the dawn, the golden hue of sunlight spreading across the sky, all these elements speak of order, beauty, and peace. Nature is not random. It is structured, intentional, and in harmony with time and purpose. And when you walk amidst this quiet wonder, your soul is reminded that your life, too, is meant to flow with that same sense of divine alignment. There is something deeply healing about starting your day in creation. While much of the world wakes up to concrete traffic, screens, and stress, you are choosing to wake up to stillness, to the song of the earth, to the language of silence that speaks louder than any man-made noise. The rhythm of your footsteps along a peaceful path becomes a rhythm for your thoughts. Your heartbeat aligns not just with your breathing, but with the harmony around you. And in that harmony, peace arises, not the fragile peace of circumstances, but the rooted peace of perspective. We live in an age of anxiety and speed where people rush without knowing why and fill their lives with information but lack wisdom. But when you walk in nature each morning, your mind has a chance to slow down and your heart has a chance to catch up. You begin to notice the small things, a flower blooming through concrete, the coolness of the breeze, the simple beauty of the sunrise. And in these moments, gratitude begins to rise. You realize that even if everything isn't perfect in your life, there is still much to be thankful for. That gratitude becomes fuel for your day. It shifts your mindset from complaining to appreciating, from pressure to presence. The discipline of observing nature each morning also cultivates patience. You see that the tree doesn't bear fruit overnight. The sun doesn't rush to rise. The bird sings whether anyone listens or not. These are lessons in persistence, timing, and faith. You learn to trust the process of your own journey. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with purpose. The morning walk becomes a mirror showing you how to live with greater calm, greater trust, and greater alignment. Moreover, nature itself is a revelation of divine principles. It teaches you that rest and movement must coexist, that seasons change, and that growth often begins underground unseen. As you walk among these truths each morning, you internalize them. You begin to live with deeper wisdom. Your conversations are more thoughtful, your reactions more tempered, your decisions more rooted. All because you chose to listen to the wind, to the rhythm of life, to the quiet voice within. In essence, walking in nature each morning is not a luxury, it is a necessity for the soul. It realigns you with the peace, clarity, and order that you were created to walk in. It transforms your inner world so that you can face the outer world with strength and grace. A morning walk is not only a physical act, but a profound moment of mental and spiritual awakening. As you walk free from distraction and noise, your mind opens up in ways it simply cannot when cluttered by technology, deadlines, and conversations. The early hours of the day carry a unique stillness, a kind of sacred silence that invites you into deep reflection and clarity. In these quiet steps, your mind begins to breathe. Thoughts settle, ideas surface, and insights are born not out of stress, but out of calm. This is where the power of a morning walk becomes evident. It is not merely about walking, it is about listening. It's during this time that your thoughts are unfiltered. You're not yet bombarded by the demands of others or weighed down by the pressures of the day. You are in a rare moment of solitude, and in that solitude you begin to hear your inner voice. You begin to process your fears, your goals, your questions. You begin to reflect not just on what you need to do, but on who you need to become. A morning walk becomes a moving meditation. Each step forward is not only progress on a path, but progress in your thinking, your dreaming, your becoming. Many of the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, and visionaries valued walking. They understood that physical movement activates mental clarity. When you walk in the morning, your brain receives more oxygen, your blood circulates more freely, and your thoughts become more organized. In these conditions, creativity flows. You might find solutions to problems that once seemed unsolvable. You may recall ideas that had been buried beneath the busyness of your routine. You begin to connect dots that once seemed random. And these ideas formed in peace often have more depth, truth, and direction than the ones forced in anxiety. This is also a time when divine insight can reach you. In the quietness of a morning walk, you are more receptive to spiritual guidance. You are not distracted. You are not resisting. You are simply present. It's in this atmosphere that you may feel a prompting, a conviction, or a deep inner knowing that you need to make a certain decision, shift your perspective, or pursue a certain path. Such revelations often don't shout, they whisper. And to hear them, you must make space. The morning walk is that space. In today's world, we often look for answers in noise, in news, in opinions, in constant activity. But the most powerful answers often come when we are still. A morning walk doesn't just improve your health. It sharpens your mind and tunes your spirit. It becomes your personal think tank, your sacred meeting ground between the natural and the spiritual, the conscious and the intuitive. And when you begin your day with that level of awareness, you are no longer walking blindly through life. You are walking with vision, with clarity, and with purpose. One of the most overlooked benefits of a morning walk is the way it builds character. It may seem like a simple act, waking up early and walking a few kilometers before the day begins, but embedded within that habit are the seeds of leadership, responsibility, and vision. Morning walks teach you to manage yourself before managing others. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about showing up for yourself consistently, even when no one is watching. This daily discipline develops traits that translate directly into every other area of life, especially leadership. True leadership always begins with self-leadership. The person who rises early, puts on their shoes, and steps out into the quiet morning is not waiting to feel motivated. They are driven by commitment. And commitment is a cornerstone of leadership. Leaders don't wait for the perfect conditions. They create movement in imperfect circumstances. Morning walks reinforce that principle daily. Whether it's cold, rainy, or tempting to stay in bed, the choice to walk anyway is a decision rooted in responsibility. You begin to realize that discipline is not about emotion, it's about decision. With each consistent morning walk, you develop inner mastery. You learn to push past excuses and regulate your habits. You set a tone of control over your own mind and body. This mastery is essential for anyone aspiring to lead others. How can one manage a team, a family, or a vision if they cannot manage their own time and body? The walk becomes training, not just for the legs, but for the will. Not just for endurance, but for character. That quiet effort, unseen by others, is building the strength that eventually becomes visible in how you live, speak, and lead. Another powerful leadership trait nurtured by morning walks is clarity of vision. In the early morning, distractions are few. The world hasn't demanded anything from you yet. It is just you, the road, and your thoughts. In that stillness, you gain insight into what really matters. You begin to distinguish the urgent from the important. Your vision sharpens. Leaders are people of foresight. They think ahead, plan, and operate with long-term focus. Morning walks give you that head start. They give you time to think, to pray, to strategize, and to realign your day with your core values. Additionally, walking regularly teaches patience and perseverance. You realize that progress doesn't always feel fast or glamorous. Some days you feel strong, other days you feel tired, but you walk anyway. That slow, steady commitment to a simple task builds resilience, and resilience is what leaders need in seasons of pressure, failure, or opposition. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. And morning walks teach you to persist. So when you think of a morning walk, don't just think of fitness. Think of it as a leadership gym, a training ground for discipline, vision, patience, and responsibility. Day by day, step by step, this small act molds you into someone who not only leads themselves well, but is equipped to lead others with integrity and strength. In a world that constantly demands more speed, more production, more information, finding peace has become a rare treasure. But every morning presents an opportunity to rediscover that peace before the chaos begins. A morning walk is one of the most powerful ways to step into that calm space where your heart can breathe and your soul can rest. It is not just about starting the day. It is about starting it from a place of inner stillness. And that stillness is not weakness, it is strength. It is the kind of strength that allows you to face the storms of life with a steady mind and a quiet confidence. As you walk in the early morning, the world feels untouched. The noise hasn't started yet. Social media hasn't called your name. Emails haven't demanded your attention. In that sacred silence, you're not being pulled in 10 different directions. Instead, you're moving forward one step at a time. Your breathing becomes deeper. Your heart rate stabilizes. And with every breath, your body releases stress that has silently accumulated. It's not just your muscles that are stretching. It's your emotions, your spirit, your mind. You begin to settle into the rhythm of peace. That peace is not passive. It is purposeful. It prepares you to respond to life with wisdom instead of reacting in frustration. People who start their day with tension often carry that tension into every conversation, every decision, and every challenge. But those who anchor their morning in peace through a walk, through reflection, through stillness, approach the same challenges with clarity and control. They are not shaken by sudden changes or overwhelmed by tasks. They have already found their center before the world even tried to knock them off balance. There's also a spiritual aspect to this kind of peace. When you walk quietly in the morning, you often find yourself speaking to the one who created peace. You express gratitude. You reflect on your purpose. You listen for direction. It's in that intimate space, free from distraction, that your heart is reminded of what really matters. Peace is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of alignment. And nothing aligns you more powerfully than beginning your day in stillness and movement at the same time. Still in your spirit, moving in your body. The benefits ripple through the rest of your day. You notice that you're slower to anger. You're quicker to smile. You make decisions from a place of strength rather than stress. You communicate with more patience. You become a source of calm for others simply because you took time to cultivate it within yourself. That morning walk wasn't just about fitness, it was about formation. It shaped your mood, your energy, your thoughts. So as life pulls you in many directions, remember this: peace is not something you find by accident. It is something you choose, something you pursue. And a morning walk though simple, is one of the most effective tools you can use to walk daily into that peace and carry it with you into every corner of your life. The journey of life is filled with distractions, some loud and obvious, others subtle and persistent. We are constantly pulled toward urgency, performance, and the expectations of others. But amid all this noise, there is a simple, sacred practice that brings us back to ourselves, the morning walk. It is not only a physical act, but a spiritual metaphor, a quiet daily reminder to stay grounded and rooted in who we truly are. When you walk in the morning, you are not just exercising your body, you are exercising your awareness, choosing presence over pressure, and returning to the values that anchor your soul. Every step in that early light becomes a declaration. I will not be swept away by the currents of the world. I will begin my day on my terms with clarity and purpose. As the rest of the world rushes, you are walking in intentional stillness. This habit, practiced consistently, becomes a mirror. It reveals your tendencies, your patterns, your thoughts, and your desires. And in doing so, it invites you to reflect on whether those desires are truly your own or simply reactions to a noisy world. A morning walk teaches you to listen, not only to the sounds of the world waking up, but to the whispers of your own heart. In that quiet hour, free from the screens and demands, you begin to notice what's really going on inside. Are you anxious? Are you grateful? Are you restless or hopeful? These questions surface naturally, and you're able to meet them without judgment. This kind of awareness isn't common in today's world, where people live on autopilot. But the morning walk interrupts that autopilot mode and brings you back into conscious living. Grounding yourself through this daily walk also creates consistency in an otherwise unpredictable life. No matter what changes around you, whether circumstances shift, challenges arise, or seasons change, your morning walk becomes a stabilizing force. It says to your soul, no matter what happens out there, I will always return here. And that, or, is the grounded version of yourself. That here is where your values live, where your convictions are clear, and where your identity is not tied to performance or approval. There is also a quiet humility in the walk. It reminds you that life is not always about speed. Not everything meaningful comes from acceleration. Sometimes the most important transformation comes in the slow, steady rhythm of doing the right thing every day, without fanfare, without applause. And that is what the morning walk represents. It's a sacred space where ego is silenced and your true self is strengthened. In a world that celebrates business, pausing to walk each morning is a radical act of alignment. It says that your inner world matters more than external noise. It declares that peace, clarity, and grounded living are not luxuries, they are necessities. And as you walk daily in that awareness, you begin to live not as a reaction to the world, but as a reflection of your purpose, anchored in truth and unwavering in direction.